Alright, so I broke my Jeep on Billings Canyon in Grand Junction, Colorado. Broke the U-joint pretty good. Broke the axle. Obviously you can see the bent ears. So I got the new one in, Chromoly 1550 U-joint. Pretty beefy. Still gotta get this side done. This side's not done yet. Still a stock axle shaft in there, but coming soon I'll have a whole new transformation. I'm also doing a lot of body work, painting the armor same color as the Jeep. This side is almost done. Looks pretty good. Getting there, getting some of the body damage out from BFE. It's looking pretty good. Might not get it fully out, but no big deal. And maybe take the B-pillar a little bit, ink on it a little bit, see if I can get it a little bit straighter. More to come. Alright, got the wheel off. The next step to getting the axle shaft out, the old one, is going to be taking the rotor and caliper off. There's a bolt right here. It's a 21 millimeter. There's also a bolt right down there, and it's also a 21 millimeter. We're gonna take this off, and then we'll get the rotor off, and I'll show you how to do the next step. Alright, got the caliper off, and these hooks I got on Amazon. Really handy, only a few bucks too. They'll hold the caliper, so it's not dangling from the brake line there. Get the ABS line out now, and keep on going with this. Alright, so to take the speed sensor out, in my case, it's a 5mm Allen, and we're just going to pop that out and then put it to the side with the brake caliper that's hanging here. And those two bolts I was telling you about, the 21mm, those are going to go here and there. So basically they're on the back side. You got to take them out, reverse, and then put them back in same way. Alright, we'll get this taken out now. Alright, once the bolt's out, this one's kind of a little stubborn, so I'm going to put a screwdriver just behind it. These are extremely fragile, so just be careful prying it out. And it came loose right there. And we'll just set that aside. Alright, now the hub has to come apart, the locking hub. I am going to take each of these bolts out. There's a total of 6, and they are a T25. So once we get those out, we'll move on to the next process. Alright, so once you get all those screws removed, this will want to pop out. And you just kind of just carefully take it off like that. Set it on the ground. And there's a whole bunch of gears and whatnot, teeth in there. We're just going to remove them in order and put them back in order. So what I basically do is remove it and set it right on top of that, how it would go back in here. That way I know exactly the orientation it came out. There's no discrepancy going back in, that I have it right. Okay, that went like that. Just went right on top. There we go. Alright, now the fun part. So, see that snap ring way back in there? You're going to have to get some serious snap ring plier tool. I'll link what I bought in the description. I broke like 2 or 3 sets trying to get this off, and finally found one that works really good. It's a little pricey, but you're going to want a heavy duty one to get that out. Also, I've learned when working on vehicles, put the bolts back where they came out of, because you'll wind up losing them. And ask me how I know that, because I've lost a lot of bolts and because I didn't put them back where they came out of. So that's what I'm doing now, so I don't lose my hardware. Alright, this is the snap ring plier tool I've been using, and make sure you get the external one. The difference is when you squeeze down, it separates the snap ring, and this is going to be extremely difficult to do with one hand. So I'm going to put you guys down and I'll show you the outcome. Alright, got it out. And basically, you put the tips in there and then you squeeze and it spreads it. And you gotta get it over the lip. And basically, what I had to do is I had to squeeze the whole thing and like pull back at the same time, and it popped out. But yeah, that is a pain. Alright, next step is going to be removing these 4 wheel bearing bolts, nuts. So there's 4, there's 2 on each side, there's 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom. And on the other side, there's going to be 1 on the bottom there and 1 on the top there. You can barely see it. But what I'll probably wind up doing is removing my steering so I can turn the knuckle so it's easier to get to these back behind there. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. Alright, so once you loosen those nuts, what you can do is put your 21mm socket on it, and since it's a flange nut, just tap it with a hammer, go equally on each side, all 4 corners, and basically what you wind up with is this. It's separated there. So once it's separated, you can take that nut off and it should slide out. You can use a flat blade screwdriver too to kind of pry in there a little bit. As you can see, I took my steering off, so this knuckle can move pretty freely. So yeah, that'll give you better access to those nuts if you take apart your steering there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this hub assembly out, and stay tuned. Okay, and you just pry on it a little bit with your own weight, your own strength. Slides right out, and that's the hub assembly right there. And we're trying to get this bad boy out. Now you want to probably try to slide this whole thing out. I've seen people put a pry bar back here and pry at it, so I'm probably going to try to do that, see what happens. Alright, almost got it out. What I did was get a big, huge crowbar and stick it behind just the axle there and use the C, press it out, boom. Just give it a good hit, it slides right out. So used a little bit of WD-40 as well, just to help keep things sliding a little bit better. So yeah, now we can remove it. Alright, so after I took everything apart, these are junkyard axles, so there was quite a bit of rust on the knuckle itself. So I went ahead and cleaned that up and painted it with some Rust-Oleum black paint, and looks pretty good. Not bad for just a quick job. And now I'm going to install the new U-joints and axles. Alright, got the new axle and U-joint installed. Significant difference here. Chromoly 1550 versus the stock Ford, which I think is 1440 U-joint. Significantly bigger. I know the camera probably doesn't do justice, but it is a lot bigger. That's what she said. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna get the new axle installed and put it all back together. A couple things to note before you put this back in the axle housing. This little thing came off the old axle shaft. I think it's to help align this with the inner seal. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it doesn't go any further, so it stops, and it kind of is the same size as the tube, so it helps guide it into place. Another thing is, I should have gotten new vacuum seals, but I didn't. This Jeep obviously isn't a Ford, so this just helps keep the dust out. So you want to reuse your old ones. They pop off with a sledgehammer. Just tap it from the back, tap it back on. But I would suggest just getting new ones because the old ones are crusty and rusty, and I should have just gone with new ones, but it's okay. They're just for keeping the dust out. Let me grab it real quick. That dust shield just goes right there. Kind of hard to see it once the axle's in, but it keeps all the dust from going in there. And then you obviously have your inner seal as well. Vacuum seal, just keep the dust out. Everything's pushed in. We'll put the hub back on, get everything tightened down, and keep moving. No real trick to this, just slide it back on and kind of just wiggle the axle shaft back and forth so it slides on. Alright, once you get mostly on, just take a sledgehammer and tap it very gently, evenly all the way around, and it should slide in just like that. There is a little bit of a gap here, but I'm going to tighten up the nuts on the back. They're not on yet, but I'll do that and it'll suck this down in. Just make sure you do it evenly, so bottom on this side, top on this side, then bottom on that side, and then obviously top on this side. Alright guys, got the steering back together, got the hub tightened down. Again, just snug it up, make sure it's tight. The next part is putting that ring back in. That's going to be real fun. Actually, it's not as bad putting it back in as it is taking it out. So basically just squeeze the tool to spread it just a little bit and just push it back as much as you can. Once you get it back there, you can kind of tap it with a flat blade screwdriver, tap it into place. So yeah, that's the next step, and then we'll put the hub back in, the locking hub, and the brake caliper and rotor, put the wheel back on, and we're good to go, ready to hit some more trails. Alright, got the locking hub back on, rotor back on, brake caliper back on, the speed sensor back in. The last step is to throw the tire back on and torque your lug nuts, and you're done. Thanks for watching.